place, for example, because there are some after-school activities on the BRAC already. So we wouldn't want to duplicate things. That doesn't make sense, right? That'll be a waste of resources. But we would then look to see where we can supplement or kind of fill that gap where there's a need. Yeah? So that's what I mean when I say kind of differently.
I have a suggestion. Sorry for interrupting, but I have a suggestion. Last year, I think it was, or the beginning of this year, we had a forum down in Brack, and most of the kids were talking about, because they're very athletic, so they were talking about having, the government build a stadium, but not just a stadium for track and football, but, swimming and other archery.
Kind of like a multi-sport.
Yeah, a multi-sport complex.
Type of complex?
Type of thing. And I was wondering, have you guys ever thought about that? Because, I get where they're coming from, because, honestly, there's nothing to do with down there. Nothing.
That is not true. Nothing to do with it.
You can go to the beach. You can go to the beach and fishing, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I know what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, whether we've considered it. Well, I can't speak to that directly, to be honest with you. Maybe the Ministry of Sports is already considering something. I don't know if they are.
I hope so. You hear that.
Well, I don't know if they are. Let me say that.
Henry
said that, right? But it's definitely one of the things that we want to do to make sure that we can support the needs in Brack. So even if we aren't in a position to build a sports complex, for example, we might be in a position to say, okay, we can offer a different type of sport than what you have now if there's interest. So we may be in a position to do that. But that's where the consultation with the folks on the BRAC will come in. Because it doesn't make sense us sitting here and thinking this will work for the BRAC, when in truth and in fact, the folks on the BRAC have something totally different in their minds, So we definitely need to do that consultation, and once we get that feedback, more detailed feedback, then we can see what programs and initiatives and interventions we can put in place with the folks on the BRAC.
Henry, what do you guys talk about, like referring to this? What stuff do you guys?
You mean in our little student forum?
Yeah, in your student forum.
In my student forum, we talked about, obviously, what we just said, parents. We talked about how teachers, they need to have a more longer recruitment process where assessments and other processes would come in, just to make sure, because I remember I had a teacher last year, any names, but anyway, yeah, I can't. But either way, the teacher was like, listen, it don't matter if you learn or not, I'm getting paid at the end of the month. And and I was like, come on, you're a teacher. Is that where you're just telling the children that you don't care? We need to have more teachers in our education system that care about the students, because myself, I have multiple teachers that care about me. Yeah. And I learn better in their classes because I know they care. They'd hit me over the head and be like, learn.
I hope not literally.
Sure. Sure. But the point is I learn.
Yeah. Okay. But one of the things, Henry, that I heard you mention before in one of our other meetings, you talked about students wanting to have high expectations placed on them. You talked about the whole idea that you don't want necessarily for someone to come along and just be, well, if you do it type of thing, or think that, well, maybe you can't achieve, so I don't set the bar high for you.
I can elaborate on that a little more, but I remember we used to do CXC science exams, or CXC board, and I heard that it was too hard, so you guys just said, oh, you know what, let's get GCSE science in, and just kick out CXC. And when we went over, like my year group, we went over and we looked at it, and we were like, wow, it is hard. But if we grew up on it and learned from young that this was our standard, hard types of tests, we could obviously do it. But looking at the education system before, we were like, oh my gosh. They were like, really, come on, why did you guys drop it? That would have been a challenge for us to do, and I would have loved to do CXC, because CXC is better recognized than GCSE.
Right.
Well, really? Because I went to Catholic and we did GCSE and WG.
That's because that's British and private kind of. Yeah.
Well, when you look at the range of examinations that are available to students, the selection really needs to be based on what's appropriate for us here in Cayman, and where our students kind of go after they leave school, and what makes the most sense for them to kind of do. And definitely you want to make sure that you don't just identify the things that are easy, or just the things that you may have a perception that may be good. We need to make sure we have the right data. We need to make sure that we identify the things that are indeed challenging for our students, that can make them reach for higher
character.
yeah, definitely. So those are the types of things, and we definitely will make those types of decisions based on what is most appropriate at the end of the day. What is most appropriate for the students
I
here
have
in
to be
Cayman.
honest with you. I will think and I will say that CXC would be the most appropriate because it is in our region. In British, they put up something on their science test, and I was like, what? I don't know what this word means. Because you know in British they say different words. And I'm
Right,
like,
right,
but I'm a
right.
Caymanian. I don't know what that means.
Right.
And it's like private schools might understand it because
Who?
of the
No, sir.
diversity.
I never understand.
The diversity and, you know, the British people, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but you get it, right?
Yeah.
It mixes around. But in public school, we're just like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So, you get it.
It's hard to, you have to kind of adjust to it and
Mhm.
like think as a, like when you're doing the exams, kind of think about, oh, okay, well, not, I don't know how to
So
put
it's like,
this.
yeah,
like
but it's
you
like-
can't say put on my British pants and
Yeah.
try to think
You're
about
tr-
how I'm gonna.
yeah. It's like in
Right.
science class, they have to teach us that, then have to teach us little
Yeah.
English language.
Sure.
I mean, like British language. I'm like, come on.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing about subjects like science, for example, you know, I mean, science is science wherever you go, irrespective. You know, mathematics is mathematics wherever you go. The terminology that may be used to explain or to question
Is
you on a
different.
particular concept may talk about a lorry instead of a truck or
Yeah.
some, those types of things. You know, and those may be the different things, but the core of it, the science,
It's the
will
same.
be science irrespective of where you go.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about as well.
I have two more questions.
Sure.
One more question, really quickly. How long did it take to plan, and is taking to plan all of this?
All right. Well, the planning for this actually started way back in 2009.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Very long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. So when the minister first came into office, he met with all the teachers and schools and everything and got feedback, just to find out, well, what's going well, what isn't going well, what are the areas of best practice that we can share with everyone, what are the areas we need to improve. And from that or those sequence of meetings, we developed a stabilization plan. So we said, okay, these are the areas that we need to kind of make sure we're on sound footing, and that is where the concept of stabilization kind of came. So after the stabilization plan, we continued then with the consultation, and we then said, okay, moving forward, we have to look strategically, and a 5-year period seemed kind of logical. So we started then with consultation groups and so on back in September, right? So from 2009, we had the initial meetings, we had the implementation of the stabilization plan, we had a review of the stabilization plan to see how whether we were hitting our targets and so on, and then we eventually came up to this current year where we are doing the consultation now. So it's been about, what's that, 3 years?
Very long time.
I'm counting on my fingers. About 3 years
Yeah.
of consultation and implementation and review and so on.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in. Do you have any final comments, shout outs?
Well, shout out to all the folks in the Ministry of Education, Department of Education Services, our teachers, our students, our parents. I guess it sounds like shout out to all of Cayman, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely those involved in education. I think that, you know, it's not an easy thing. Education impacts on everybody, and it's probably one of the biggest ministries. So it's not an easy thing, but we definitely appreciate all the hard work that everyone does and the ability that the potential we see in our students. And final words, if I can, would be just to remind folks of our website, www.education.gov.ky. You can go there, go to the strategic plan page, download the plan, read it, then fill out the survey. There's a survey link right there, and absolutely we want to get your input, we want to get your feedback. If you don't want to fill out the survey, you can email us at educationreform@gov.ky.
Do you guys have a number?
Yeah, well,
Oh, hi.
Oh.
Wait, sorry, Cameron
Cameron Brock has a question.
Sure, now you want to talk.
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually done already. No, why are you laughing, Henry? No, that was done. We actually went over and we spoke with teachers and parents on October 4th. But I think we had some discussion with students around that same time. I have to just double check that, but I think Mr. Michael Miles came over and had some discussion, I think, with students as well around that same time. So, but if there's further information you guys want to provide, feel free to get together as a group and send it in. You can, if you just want to put together some bullet points and send it in. If you want to get one of your teachers to facilitate that meeting for you, we're happy. Again, if you want to just go on the website and fill out the survey, we're happy. However we can get information and input from you, please send it to us.
Write an essay.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much for having me.
wanted to.
Oh, I wanted to. Okay, great. I would like to commend the Department of Education for putting on this plan, and I hope it works out, and I hope the action plan is just as good. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna be on for the rest of the show. So.
Yes, we're gonna drill Lady Rabia. So, but we're actually gonna go to our second music break by Bears Hammond, Keeping It Real.